Hi, there's something worrying me lately, and I don't know if it's just a me problem or if this is something that many of us in this modern age are going through because it happens to a lot of people, and we happen to spend an insane amount of time consuming media. Jake Peralta would say media content that we are consuming endlessly, and many of the times we are also trying to figure ourselves out through these media or through creators that are trying to give us insights and inputs on how you can become a better creator, how you can become a better person, things like that. But what do I want to do? What kind of a person am I? What career suits me? What am I passionate about? What are the art or movies that I want to consume? And after a certain point in time, what will I be doing? Like maybe in my 30s, which I am right now, and in my 40s or 50s, like what is the actual purpose of my life? So when I start thinking about these things, I kind of think that every problem can be solved when you watch content in 2026. Like you feel that you can solve every problem in your life by watching a 47-second video, and we can go online and start looking for answers because everybody's creating content for all kinds of people, and you find solutions in endless fashion, you can say, because everybody's trying to solve problems for people. And I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like we watch somebody explaining how they found their purpose, then we find someone who's explaining how they built a six-figure career in like 1 year or 2 years, and then somebody tells that we are living wrong, we are eating wrong, we are exercising wrong, everything we are doing right now is wrong. And then we have to watch a video, maybe then download a tutorial or a handbook or a work that for that which you have to give your email address, and then later kind of have to understand that there's so many people who are trying to do so many things to grab our attention, and someone tells us to wake up at 5 in the morning, and then there's the next person who comes who says waking up at 5 in the morning is a big risk to your health. And then after 3 hours of consuming all of this information, we've done absolutely nothing because they've not provided us anything, but we feel like we've done something. And over the course of time, after consuming endlessly like this, we understand that we're only been consuming things, and whatever we are consuming, we are, maybe if there is something good out of whatever is coming, we are not using our time to utilize that or to put into action, because that's the interest. We only feel like consuming good. Like if I watch a TED talk or something on a good YouTube channel that can provide me with endless knowledge, I take it, but later I don't apply that to my life. And if that is the case, then there's no point in you consuming those things. And I think that is where kind of missing the point, because we feel like after consuming we are moving towards progress, but instead, like in my case, I read or watch a lot of content. You can write better when it comes to making videos on YouTube, how I can improve my video making skills or writing for the YouTube videos that I kind of watch a lot about how to write better, or follow a lot of filmmakers on how they write for their films, what are the challenges that they face, what are the inspirations that they have. And I kind of listen to so many podcasts on creativity, on philosophy, discipline, relationships, money, fitness, spirituality, whatnot. Like at some point, you know that you know so much about how you can live your life just by the consumption of whatever you are trying to. Because we see so many podcasts out there, and everybody's trying to teach us something, and but are we applying that to our lives? I'm not really sure, because we haven't changed anything about ourselves, because we haven't lived any differently after consuming whatever we've been consuming. I think I caught myself doing this a lot because I used to watch loads of videos on YouTube on how I can write better or how I can make videos better and become a YouTuber who will earn like in 5 figures or 6 figures. But again, it's been like a constant struggle to translate whatever I've been consuming and then putting it into action and then seeing the results, because I think that is where the real struggle is, because we've been only consuming things and trying not to, or either we forget them instantly, and then that's it. I love being curious. I like knowing different things. I like having 10 different interests at the same time and focus on different things at different points in a day. And I've always been like this. I've been writing for 10 years on like various capacities, be it short films, short stories, essays, blogs, content writing for websites, or for separate businesses, content for the websites and stuff. Uh, I've always been working like this. Ever since I started aligning myself to my can kind of become a curse, I should say, because you're curious to do so many different things, but again, it's also kind of like you're avoiding something because you're curious. You're going into something else, and you're avoiding that thing you were curious a little while ago. Maybe consuming to learn things just to satisfy the curious cat in your head, and after that, we are trying to just forget. I also think that we are uncomfortable with the fact of creating something of our own. Maybe that is true. Sometimes I am like that because I am very lazy when it comes to creating, because I feel like it's a huge ask. I want it to be easy, and no bloody thing is easy in this world right now. we have to train ourselves, we have to have the discipline, and we have to sit down for hours, we have to work on our skills, and we have to practice and get better, and we have to put ourselves out to gain some knowledge, to gain some understanding, and then to improve ourselves. And when we are not doing the that is to create, you're 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 asking the wrong questions, because when we are consuming, there is no, you can watch somebody else's film, admire it, diss it, or properly troll it, whatever you want. And when you read somebody else's work, you think that it's good, it's bad, it's boring, whatever. But the moment you make something yourself, you're constantly guarding yourself. You feel like you're suddenly exposed. When there is something with your name on it, and you feel that someone can dislike it, someone can ignore it, or someone can tell you that it's not very good, it you feel like sometimes you yourself tell it that no, it's not good. I don't want it to be seen by others. And most of my work has already been self-censored, and it doesn't come out because I've already decided that it won't be good. Whether it is good or not, nobody knows. So that kind of gap is painful, like, because we kind of over analyze the things, and we forget that. And this is the idea that figure out, like, I think that's something that Alan Watts has said, that don't try too hard to figure out who you are, instead just become yourself. Like, I don't know if it's the exact wording or whatever the quote is, but I feel like there's someone who said that. And be something, and then kind of create your qualities or your assets, whatever you feel like. The idea is interesting. Like, what if we don't discover ourselves by thinking about ourselves endlessly? What if we discover ourselves by doing this? Like, instead of worrying about what might someone think, just put it out and see where it goes. If it's bad, if it's bad, like, you can't do much about it. Maybe you don't know whether you like filmmaking or not until you make a few terrible short films. Like, maybe you don't know what kind of until you step into things, tried, and then discover that they absolutely don't fit in your life, mind space, things like that. Maybe you don't find yourself, maybe you just make yourself. And it sounds much less romantic if you think about it, but that's probably much more useful, because you're at least giving yourself a chance to do the things that you are slightly interested in, keeping the curious cat interested and just putting it out. And maybe somewhere down the line you'll figure out that, okay, this is something that I once liked, now I don't. And there are so many things that happen to us in so many different ways that it changes, and you are entirely moving in different directions. I think living something, you rarely know what it means. Just doing it. You take a job, you move somewhere, meet someone, you start writing, stop writing, make a stupid decision, make another stupid decision because apparently one is not enough. And then 5 years later, you look backward, and suddenly there's a pattern. You understand why you did certain things, and you understand what mattered, you understand what didn't. And yeah, but you couldn't have known any of that while you were living it. Again, which makes me wonder why we are so obsessed with having 5-year plan for a life we haven't even experienced yet. Maybe we're constantly trying decisions. I lost my thought and moved from one thing to another. Recently, I wrote my newsletter post, and that has come after a long time. And I think that was the real seed for this, because I kind of felt like after endless consuming of so many things, and for most of the time, I've even stopped consuming things because I quit Instagram. I've been off social media apps for some time and then back again, but Instagram definitely no. And I feel a lot more at peace with myself because I don't see much of unnecessary stuff that I don't need, which I realized that after deleting the app for like 5-6 months. And it's again, what do you say, difficult thing to we are mindlessly scrolling things, and that pains me that we are wasting so much of our time. Again, a scientist trying to figure out the next medication for cancer, but it's not like that. I don't know, somehow the thought that we are just consuming and not creating is bothering me, and I wanted to get back to creating, even though it's bad, even though it's less, like how you see. I'm not sure what is coming on because camera's just recording me mindlessly blabbering. So I wrote this newsletter post, which is about how I've been skipping things in my head pretty much. I wanted to write for a long time, but then I didn't. One fine day, it stuck me when I was going in the metro to work, and it kind of flowed that day, and how that flowed. And I want that to happen in my other things as well, in my book, which I've been telling that I've been writing for a long time, in my videos now. And I think that is what I wanted to, just how many different things that I touched upon in this moment. I think this is the main problem, like to be able to find that focus to do the things. And sometimes it's sad because you want something to be done, you want to do something, you are not able to figure out how to tell that thing, and you're not really sure whether someone would understand or not. And that is even more problematic because uh, I'm not sure like if anybody would understand. Yeah, I had little notes that I wrote, and keep coming back to these notes on how I can tell this part. I wrote a sentence in my newsletter post that, like, maybe what I've been so long is what makes me stop skipping. The moment I think will never arrive until kind of create for ourselves. Like, maybe that's what writing is in terms of what I want to do with my life, or filmmaking, or for you it might be painting, or just 10 uninterrupted minutes to stop skipping the world, because we've been endlessly scrolling, skipping songs, eat, sleep, repeat, and then continue the next day, an endless rant. And it's the plight of a 30-year-old writer who's trying to figure things out, and he doesn't want to figure things out. He wants to be those things that he wants. So like, yeah, this is what I think is going on in the mind. It's endlessly traveling from one thing to another, just like how my interests have over the years, and still want to come back. And I want to be associated, my name to be associated with someone who's creative, and as opposed to someone who's not. So yeah, I don't know if I made any sense. Zero, I assume, and I don't know if anybody will ever. That is also zero, I feel. And yeah, like, I also had, that always bothers me, that I often say that once I get a job, I'll do this. Once I find my person, I'll get married. Or once I do this, I'll become confident. Like, we're always giving the future ourselves, future version of ourselves, a lot of things to do, while we in our current to just endless scrolling. And I think this video should be this video should be named endless because I've been using the word endlessly. And yeah, I think it's kind of like quite funny that we're always thinking about the future while we are not living the present in the way that we want, and we think that the future us will live in the way that we are fantasizing about. Not really sure. Like, this reminds me of quote Kierkegaard. Life is always understood when you look at it backwards, but live forward. You understand? Like, you only understand what happened, or you can make connections about the past, and then move forward in life. But if you are making the understanding of whatever things that you want to do in the future, you're not living the present, and again you'll anyways evaluate and change things about the past, and then again the future is also, like I said, endless is the video. This is going to be epic. I don't know who I'm making these videos for, because at the start of why I wanted to make videos, I wanted to make it for people who are abroad, people who are trying to be interesting in life. Something I wanted to do for them. And then some of them, I kind of liked what I did. I want to do more of those because I want to watch those videos. So that is my kind of philosophy of, if I want to watch, then I will click on those. So I was making those. Maybe again it's for me myself, but I think there are so many people out there who want to do things like that. It's all still raw. Maybe I haven't figured out maybe I haven't figured out how to write. Maybe I'm just trying to make something out and put it into the internet. Mindless blabbering thing, but there is 1% truth in whatever I'm trying to say, whether it is understood or not. I don't know. Yeah, I come back every once in a while with these kinds of thoughts. And I imagine you are whoever is watching. If you're watching till here, then hats off to you. Maybe you should be garlanded and given some blank checks. But maybe, yeah, let's see. It's this endless rant that is going to be epic if you look at it that way. I previously used to announce what I do next and stuff. Eventually, I don't. And yeah, right now I don't want to do all those. I don't want to publicize them. It's on social media or anything, because I still feel, even after making videos and stuff for like 3 or 4 years, still feel like a rookie. I feel like, oh no, I should protect myself. I should be guarded, and like, I want to be in a shell, but I want people to listen to what I say. Not sure whether I'm making any sense. So really want people. So yeah, it's a strange thing that's happening, and it's okay, I guess. Anyways, nobody's watching it, so this is not for anybody. Just putting it out there. I want to just put it out there. If there is anything that I talked about the future, right? Like how we are leaving things for the future. Like we think 20s are for enjoying, and 30s will do work or something like that. We'll think that when I get a job, or I'll travel when I have some money, or start writing when I get settled, find a dream job, I'll make the film when I have the better equipment. And I don't know, like 4 or 5 years, you'll realize that you've been thinking about these things for a long time, and you don't have anything that you've done so far. And that is kind of the part that scares me. Like, it's not failure that is scaring me, but more like how we're planning for a future, and the future is nowhere near, and we are constantly postponing whatever the plans are in terms of what we want to create or what we want to do. And I think that if at all you're a failure, it still means that you've tried to do something. But if you haven't done that, you are just waiting for the right moment. And because sometimes you don't I don't want you to quit your job and immediately start following your dreams and buy a notebook and write your book and whatnot. Like, reality is more, what do you say, more complicated than that. And I do think that there is a difference between waiting because you generally or genuinely need to, and waiting because you don't want to find out, because you're afraid that I think that kind of waiting is a dangerous thing, because you can spend enormous amount of time and money preparing for something you want to be, but in the future, while instead you could have little work, bit by bit, building yourself, and eventually getting better at it. Like, you can have 100 ideas for a novel, but you still have to write a bad chapter to initiate the stuff, and you have to start doing things, just small repetitions, so small decisions, trying things, failing at things, changing your mind, then trying again. Suppose this is who I became. Like I started from this, I've moved till here, and then I've learned that this is not the point, and then I change things, and then I get better. So yeah, for a long time I feel like I need to separate everything, be it my writing in two different places, my videos in two different places. This belongs on platform, this belongs on that platform, this is stuff, this needs to be polished, this needs to be very what do you say, aesthetic and stuff like that. And so many times you are organizing stuff that has not yet been completed. Like eventually half the time you are spending your like creative life in organizing it in your Notion dashboard or Notion homepage. Like this is where it should go, this is where Notion or whatnot. I don't know what exactly this channel or what my creative outputs are going to become like, and I don't know whether they'll be interesting. I'll just try. I don't know. We can just begin. Maybe that's the uncomfortable part. We keep looking for a map because we think the map will tell us who we are, but perhaps the map will appear while we are traveling, while we are walking. Maybe we are already that, and we are not knowing it because we are not doing it. Yeah, maybe it's just accumulation of all the things you decided when we're doing, and even when you're completely sure that this is not something that has to go like this, but you still did, and then you finally find out that that is enough for now anyway. It works. So yeah, I think let's end this endless video for now.